Good morning, Willard Wildcats. This is Dr. Baxter here with your morning announcements on Friday, April 24th. We don't have any birthdays today on Books and Birthdays, but this weekend we have some birthdays to celebrate. On April 25th, Jose J. and Naya R. are celebrating birthdays. And on Sunday, April 26th, Grace K. and Dwayne M. are celebrating birthdays. Happy birthday to everyone. Wildcats, this week we've been talking about Earth Day and Earth Week and celebrating Earth Week. I know that you're doing a lot in your classrooms, doing your distance learning to celebrate the IB Green Team. So today I want to read you one of my favorite books, The Lorax. This book is by Dr. Seuss, and I know many of you know this wonderful book. The Street of the Lifted Lorax. I'm going to try to turn it so you can see it. At the far end of town where the grickle grass grows, and the wind smells slow and sour when it blows, and no birds ever sing excepting old crows, is the Street of the Lifted Lorax. And deep in the grickle grass, some people say, if you look deep enough, you can still see today where the Lorax once stood just as long as it could before somebody lifted the Lorax away. What was the Lorax and why was it there? And why was it lifted and taken somewhere? From the far end of town where the grickle grass grows, the old Onceler still lives here. Ask him, he knows. You won't see the Onceler, don't knock at his door. He stays in his lurkum on top of his store. He lurks in his lurkum cold under the roof, where he makes his own clothes out of muffered moof. And on special dank midnights in August, he peeks out of the shutters, and sometimes he speaks and tells how the Lorax was lifted away. He'll tell you perhaps if you're willing to pay. Can you see the picture? Home of the Onceler. On the end of a rope, he lets down a tin pail, and you have to toss in 15 cents and a nail, and a shell of a great, great, great grandfather snail. Then he pulls up the pail, makes a most careful count to see if you've paid him the proper amount. Then he hides what you've paid him away in his snub, his secret strange hole in his grievous glove. Then he grunts, I will call you by whisper my phone, for the secrets I tell are for your ears alone. Slup. Down the slups, the whisper my phone to your ear, and the old Onceler's whispers are not very clear, since they have to come down through a snurgly hose, and he sounds as if he had smallish bees up his nose. Now I'll tell you, he says, with his teeth sounding gray, how the Lorax got lifted and taken away. It all started way back, such a long, long time back. Oh, here's the color. Look at that. Way back in the days when the grass was green and the pond was still wet and the clouds were still clean and the song of the Swami swans rang out in space. One morning I came to this glorious place and I first saw the trees, the truffula trees, the bright colored tufts of the truffula trees, mile after mile in the fresh morning breeze. I love the color. Don't you love the color? And under the trees I saw brown barbalots frisking about in their barbalot suits as they played in the shade and ate truffula fruits. From the rapulous pond came the comfortable sound of the humming fish humming while splashing around. But those trees, those truffula trees. All of my life I've been searching for trees such as these. The touch of their tufts was much softer than silk, and they had the sweet smell of fresh butterfly milk. I felt a great leaping of joy in my heart. I knew just what I'd do. I unloaded my cart. What do you think that means that he's going to do? Maybe stay? Sounds like it to me too. The Oncelers. In no time at all, I built a small shop. Then I chopped down a truffula tree with one chop. And with a great skillful skill, with great speedy speed, I took the soft tuft and I knitted a thneed. Who's this story about then? The instant I'd finished, I heard a gazump. I looked, I saw a pop out of the stump of the tree I chopped down. It was sort of a man. Describe him? That's hard. I don't know if I can. He was shortish and oldish and brownish and mossy, and he spoke with a voice that was sharpish and bossy. Who is that? That's the Lorax. Mister, he said with a sawdusty sneeze, I am the Lorax, and I speak for the trees. I speak for the trees that have no tongues, and I'm asking you, sir, at the top of my lungs. He was very upset, and he shouted and puffed. What's that thing you've made out of my truffula tuft? Look, Lorax, I said. There's no cause for alarm. I chopped just one tree. I'm doing no harm. I'm being quite useful. This thing is a thneed. A thneed's a fine something that all people need. It's a shirt, it's a sock, it's a glove, it's a hat. But it has other uses. Yes, far beyond that. You can use it for carpets, for pillows, for sheets, or curtains, or covers, or for bicycle seats. The Lorax said, Sir, you are crazy with greed. There is no one on earth who would buy that full thneed. See the Lorax talking to the Onceler? But the very next minute, I proved he was wrong. For just that minute, a chap came along, and he thought that the thneed I knitted was great. He happily bought it for $3.98. I laughed at the Lorax. You poor stupid guy. You never can tell what some people will buy. I repeat, cried the Lorax, I speak for the trees. I'm busy, I told him. Shut up, if you please. I rushed across the room and in no time at all built a radio phone. I put in a quick call. I called my brothers and uncles and aunts and I said, listen here, here's a wonderful chance for the whole Onceler family to get mighty rich. Get over here fast. Take the road to North Niche. Turn left at Winkelhaken, sharp right and a south stitch. And in no time at all, in a factory I built, the whole Onceler family was working full tilt. We were all knitting thneeds, just as busy as bees, to the sound to the chopping of truffula trees. What do you think is going to happen to all those beautiful truffula trees? Then, oh baby, oh, how my business did grow. Now chopping one tree at a time was too slow. So I quickly invented my super axe hacker, which whacked off 4 truffula trees at one smacker. We were making thneeds 4 times as fast as before, and that Lorax, he didn't show up anymore. Do you think it's a good thing the Lorax isn't there? I don't think so. I think the Lorax is important. But the next week, he knocked on my new office door. He snapped, I'm the Lorax who speaks for the trees, with which you seem to be chopping as fast as you please. But I'm also in charge of brown barbaloots who played in the shade and in their barbaloot suits and happily lived eating truffula fruits. Now, thanks to your hacking of my trees to the ground, there's not enough truffula fruit to go round. And my poor barbaloots are all getting the crummies because they have gas and no food in their tummies. They loved living here, but I can't let them stay. They'll have to find food, and I hope that they may. Good luck, boys, he cried, and he sent them away. I, the Onceler, felt sad as I watched them all go, but business is business and business must grow, regardless of crummies and tummies, you know. Do you agree with that? What perspective do you take? Being an IB student means you take a perspective about these things and you think about what would be good for everybody. I meant no harm, I most truly did not, but I had to grow bigger, so bigger I got. I biggered my factory, I biggered my roads, I biggered my wagons, I biggered the loads of thneeds I shipped out. I was shipping them from north to the south, to the east, to the west, to the north. I went right on biggering, selling more needs, and I biggered my money, which everyone needs. Look at how that pretty truffula forest looks now. Then again, he came back. I was fixing some pipes when the old nuisance Lorax came back with more gripes. I am the Lorax. He coughed and he whiffed. He sneezed and he snuffled. He snarled. He sniffed. Onceler, he cried with a cruffulous croak. Onceler, you're making such smogulous smoke. My poor swami swans, they can't sing a note. Now no one can sing who has smog in his throat. Smog is pollution. And so, said the Lorax, please pardon my cough. They cannot live here, so I'm sending them off. Where will they go? I don't hopefully know. They may have to fly for a month or a year to escape the smog you've smogged up around here. What's more, snapped the Lorax, his dander was up. Let me say a few words about Gluppity Glup. Your machinery chugs on day and night without stop, making Gluppity Glup. So also sloppity slop. And what do you know to do with this leftover goo? I'll show you, you dirty old Onceler man, you. You've glumped up the pond where the humming fish hummed. No more can they hum, for their gills are all gummed. So I'm sending them off. Oh, their future is dreary. They'll walk on their fins and get woefully weary in search of some water that isn't so smeary. And then I got mad. I got terribly mad. I yelled at the Lorax, now listen here, Dad. All you do is yap, yap, and say bad, bad, bad. Well, I have my right, sir, and I'm telling you, I intend to go on doing just what I do. And for your information, Lorax, I'm figuring on biggering and biggering and biggering and biggering, turning more truffula trees into needs, which everyone needs. What's your opinion? Do you think they all need needs? And at that very moment, we heard a loud whack. From outside in the fields came a sickening smack of an axe on a tree. Then we heard the tree fall, the very last truffula tree of them all. No more trees, no more needs, no more work to be done. So in no time, my uncle and aunts, everyone, all waved me goodbye. They jumped into my cars and drove away under the smoke-smoggered stars. Now all that was left near the badly smelling sky was my empty factory, the Lorax and I. Look at that sad picture. The Lorax said nothing, just gave me a glance. Just gave me a very sad backwards glance. He lifted himself by the seat of his pants, and I'll never forget the grim look on his face when he hesitated himself and took leave of this place, through a hole in the smog, without leaving a trace. And all the Lorax left here in this mess was a small pile of rocks, with one word, unless. Whatever that meant, well, I just couldn't guess. That was long ago, but each day since that day, I've sat here worried and worried away. Through the years, while my buildings have fallen apart, I've worried about it with all my heart. But now, says the Onceler, now that you're here, the word of the Lorax seems perfectly clear. Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not. So, catch, calls the Onceler, let something fall. It's a truffula seed. It's the last one of all. You're in charge of the last of the truffula seeds, and the truffula trees are what everyone needs. Plant a new truffula. Treat it with care. Give it clean water and feed it fresh air. Grow a forest, protect it from axes and hacks. Then the Lorax and all of his friends may come back. That part reminds me of what you guys were doing yesterday with planters and how much you do with Green Team as you think about the environment. Wildcats, remember, we are safe, respectful, and responsible. And this month, in order to stay safe, we're staying at home. Have a wonderful weekend. See you Monday.